Hey guys, welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is your review show. I'm your host, Khalid Moeddin. It's a show where we talk about the second ODI between Pakistan and South Africa. Well done to South Africa for winning this game. I think there was some excellent performance to obviously talk about. And I think that all round, collectively, from a batting perspective, I'd like to see that improvement. There was a massive jump in improvement from the previous game. I think that was very good. For a long time, we've been looking for people to bat collectively. We spoke about the women's national international team when they took on India, and we spoke about how they collectively batted as a unit. And that's something that South Africa needed to take, obviously, some learnings from, like Temba Bavuma said himself. In this particular game, hats off to the captain, Temba Bavuma. Unselfishly actually going for the shot instead of just waiting on the other end and giving the strike to the guy on the other end that was in more destructive form in Rassie. But other than that, and when David Miller also came to the crease as well, it's one of those situations where I think that was perfectly set up for David Miller to show what he's capable of doing. And well done to David for doing that. I can see a lot of people, one person commenting in favor of David. The criticism of David was never because I didn't believe in his potential as a player. I was always very hard on him because I believe that he should take more responsibility in this team, and that's the only reason why I was so hard on him. And with the criticism that I did have, etc., I believe that he should be the best batsman in the side to take South Africa forward. That was what I always believed. That once AB left, once Faf left, this ODI setup, that David Miller should be that one guy that's supposed to be the sparkling light in this team from an attacking batting perspective. And that's why I've always criticized him, because I thought that he can always do better. And now, currently, this is probably his best purple patch in his career so far, I think. If I look at the last 5 games that he's played for South Africa, you can see that. Very good from his point of view. I have to give credit to Faka Saman for this particular performance. One of the best innings I've seen. I think he was excellent. I mean, I don't think any other Pakistan batsman got above 25, 20 runs, and him scoring almost 200 in this particular game was excellent. One of those situations where you really are completely dominating and you score all the runs for your side. I mean, that was an excellent performance from him on his part. When you look at the score sheet, of course, Babar Azam obviously scored 31, and other than that, no one really got close to that. No one passed 20 after that. So that's one of those situations where you really anchor your side's innings and really put on a magnificent chase by himself. His run-out was unfortunate. I think it's a talking point that we're all going to talk about when I bring on my guests on the panel as well. I see that people are quite upset about it, which doesn't make sense to me from that point of view. I think the batsman should never be falling for tricks like that. When you talk about Quinton de Kock and his brain, cricketing brain, that's a good indication of that cricketing brain to be able to do something like that in a split second. Think of that. Zaman should have just ran hard, regardless of whoever is trying to do whatever. You never take an opposition's word for something, shouting bowler, and you fall for it. So I think that. I think the criticism on Quinton de Kock is obviously very harsh on him. So that's something that we're obviously going to talk about, of course. From a bowling perspective, I think overall, actually, we bowled quite well. And I know you guys might say, okay, wait a minute, how can you say that if someone can score 193? But that's just the thing. Against the other batsmen, we bowled well. Faka Zaman just batted excellently today. I mean, that's you can't really sometimes you can't combat that type of performance. It's like in many situations when one person bats you out of the game, it's very difficult to stop someone like that. And I think that's something that we obviously have to look at. My concerns in general with regards to South Africa's bowling performances in the first 2 games is the extras. I think we need to tie down on some of those extras, particularly when you're searching. I can understand when Andila was searching for those wide deliveries. Obviously, the margin of error is so small to get those wide Yorkers in, and it's something that's very difficult to execute. And I think if you can execute it, then it's good to be able to have some practice to do so. certain things about Ngidi has been bothering me in recent times. I feel that his pace has gone off tremendously over the last couple of years. I don't know if that is just if that's what the reasons are for that necessarily. To me, it also looks from another point of view, if I look at it, he is reverting to the slower delivery and variations a lot more often. So that's also maybe his approach. Maybe it's not his pace, and maybe it's just his approach. There's a lot of scramble seam deliveries. There's a lot of slower deliveries that he bowls that I've seen him obviously generate. He doesn't really hit that 145 mark that I felt that he did hit at the beginning of his career. When he was obviously a lot leaner then. He didn't bulk up as much. But over the years, I felt that he's in white ball cricket, he's also added that to his game, is the variations, etc., and those type of things. So it's very interesting to see what's going to happen with him. I think Anrich Nokia has been excellent. He's really shown what he's capable of, and we've seen the Anrich Nokia that we wanted to see in international cricket. I think we're seeing that right now. In this particular games, though, I think that he was aided by the surface quite with regards to the bounce that he's getting out to the surface, etc. And we know that that's been a tactic against Pakistan and subcontinent teams to bowl the shorter deliveries, and a lot of his wickets have come from that, from the shorter deliveries, cramping players in their crease, etc. But before we get going, before I get the guests on the show, and that's what I'm talking about when I say get going, because I've just given you guys a 6-minute speech. Here's a subscribe to this channel, please, and click that notification bell for all future videos. Let's get the panel on the show. Aditya, who's obviously going to give us some insight into the press conference a little bit. Cricket connoisseur and Mpo. I saw Aditya obviously great live tweeting today, and updates from your side. I think it was excellent, some of the things that you brought out. But let me just go around the table over here quickly. I'm going to end with Aditya, because Aditya, you can give us some insight from the press conference as well. So I'm just going to go around here quickly, start with cricket connoisseur Aaron, and I'm going to go to Mpo, and then we can go to Aditya.
Well, no worries, gents. And first things first, to everyone, of course, watching, and of course, you three fine gentlemen, happy Easter. Hope everyone's had a fantastic day. I certainly have had a nice day off, watching some brilliant cricket courtesy of Fakhar Zaman and the South African batsman. But yeah, I mean, what a game. What a game. We have just witnessed one of the greatest individual performances, I think, in recent ODI memory. It was absolutely extraordinary. 18 fours, 10 sixes, and these were not just sixes creeping over the ropes. They were going miles over the ropes. It was an absolute exhibition in one-day international batting, courtesy of Fakhar Zaman. He was absolutely brilliant today. And I just think it was a really, really good contest. It's as simple as that. Of course, I am here in my Proteas shirt. South Africa have won, of course, sets up the series quite nicely. But as a neutral, what a game of cricket that was. What a magnificent game of cricket it was. Of course, there was controversy. We'll touch upon that as today's show progresses. You can already tell by how the comments are going off already tonight. But yeah, all in all, very, very good game of cricket, and sets up the series beautifully heading into Wednesday decider at Centurion.
Excellent insight. Mpo, your summary?
I'm tired. I'm really tired, honestly, of this team. But anyway, another thriller. This team really struggled to get through this Pakistan batting lineup. I disagree with you, Khalid. I think the bowling wasn't great. I think to a certain extent, yes, they had patches where they bowled well, but largely it wasn't great. We need to learn to bowl teams out. We need to learn to manipulate a batsman. Yes, I understand you have a guy scoring 193 and they can't do and you can't do much, and I get that. It was an incredible innings. It was bad as a South African fan, but I'm sure as a neutral it was great. But from my perspective, something needs to happen in terms of the plans. The question was halfway through when Fahim Ashraf came in, and you could say even Shaheen Afridi, you kind of felt that they didn't know the plan to bowl to Fakhar Zaman, and that for me was one of the big issues. What's the plan? What are we trying to do? I get there's wide Yorkers, but you've got looking Giddy bowls a wide variety of balls. So does Andile. So does KG. You need to find a way. They were going short too often. It was just easy into the arc. I felt that the timber was running foul of the the over rate, which is why he tried to get more overs of Markram, but it ended up just being 10 overs of spin, 11 overs of spin, and that 11th over was the problem, because that just went for like, I don't know, 20 something runs. But largely that was my issue from a bowling perspective. They'll get better, they'll do better, but from a batting perspective, what an innings. I think we needed those guys to get at least 340, 350, because that's what you'll get as a team at the Wanderers in a pink ODI. But then they got there. They managed to somehow get to 340. They built their innings right. We were talking about aggression for the past, I don't know how many months. If this is how aggression is going to look, it gives you every chance of winning games. The only problem is that today we needed our bowlers to step up and show their dominance. And somehow, yes, they did by taking wickets of everybody else, but they just had a brain freeze when it came to the bowlers. And to a certain extent, Anders Nokia is bowling really well. He's using the short ball very well. He bowled a very lovely slow ball at the back of the hand, which is really surprising but really good. And we can grow from this quartet as bowlers, as fast bowlers, because that's, I think, what the team needs. There's a lot of balance issues that need to happen, but the one thing I want to say is, if you're asking for penalty runs, if you're asking for whatever it is, and you're telling me Quinton's cheated, guys, I'm sorry, no. Really, no. Guys, come on. Really. Really, like, let's be
I don't
serious.
think he
Didn't
has
even
at all.
touch
I
the
thought it
ball.
was funny.
If he touched the ball, you would have a case. But he didn't even touch the ball. He was just pointing at the non-striker's end. He can always just say he was he told Aiden to throw at the non-striker's end. But the problem, the thing that people are forgetting is that how great a throw did Aiden have to make from the boundary that's over 60 meters to get middle stump. That is insane. And nobody's talking about the incredible piece of fielding. Everyone's telling us about 5 penalty runs. I'm really sorry, guys, but there was no wicketkeeper needed in that situation. Even if Quinton wasn't even there, Fakhar Zaman would have been out. That's a good plain old God honest truth. So if you want to come with penalty runs, fine, come at us. But it's okay. We'll see you at Centurion.
Yes. So. Okay, Aditya, your summary of it, and give us some insight into Tempa's presser. Where did he say the areas of improvement should be?
Okay, yeah, I'll talk about the presser first. From a batting perspective, Temba was pleased from the progress that they made in the last game, and he revealed that post that game, they talked about the importance of building partnerships up front, and they did that today with a 55-run partnership between Quinton and Aiden. And even when he came out, he thought that conditions were quite difficult for batting, but he wanted to kick on with Quinton, and then he had faith that Rassi and David Miller could take the attack to the opposition had they built a solid foundation, which they did. So he was quite happy there. Pakistan, he thought generally the bowling was good, but the most important priority for Temba was that the team should be clear in the plans that they want to execute. It will happen every now and then that a batsman will play a brilliant innings like Fakhar Zaman did play today, but it's important that the bowlers are clear. And in saying that, he recognizes that there's still a lot of room for improvement, and they'll keep working at it. But overall, he was quite pleased with the performance. I also attended Fakhar Zaman's press conference, and he saw the funny side of that whole episode of his dismissal. So I don't think people on the outside of social media need to take it very seriously. He said that it was his fault, that he thought that Haris Rauf had gotten run out, which is why he was looking in the other direction. But he didn't know that Aiden hadn't released the ball yet, and he did, which is why he got run out. So I think that was the mistake. That was the mistake that he made, and I don't even think he heard Quinton de Kock say what he did. So yeah, I think he's seeing the funny side of it. I guess we should too. But in saying that, I think he played one of the greatest innings we've seen in modern ODI history. That's fantastic. Pakistan were 205 for 7. They were all but gone, and at that point, I personally thought that the game will be over in like 30 minutes or so. But he's taken them to 326, which is fantastic. So outstanding innings, and I think it's one of those innings that I wish the crowds were in to see. It would have added that much more of an effect. But my personal assessment of the game was that although South Africa batted well to get to 340, I think on Twitter I'd said that the team should be aiming for 350. So they got pretty close, which is great. One thing that has been of concern to me, and I've been harping about it on Twitter since that first game, is the dot ball percentage. In the first game, the team played 160 dot balls. And in a 300 ball game, I think that's too much. Today, Temba's running between the wickets was fantastic, but the team still played 134 dot balls. So that is a little bit of progress, and the team did do better. But I think the team needs to have a plan B when they're batting on difficult wickets. With certain opposition with Pakistan, I think the middle overs bowling is a little bit of a weak link. So, the team could capitalize a little bit on that. But, they won't always have that boundary option or that six option, which is why it's so important for teams to really have that aggressive running between the wickets approach. When saying that, very good for them to get to 340. I think bowling was fine as well. I agree with Rufoda that there is room for improvement there, and I generally think that South Africa needs to work out its 5-bowler approach. That can't work in the future, and I think teams like India which also relied on that 5-bowler approach, is sort of realizing that that's not the way to go. So yeah, I guess there are balance issues, as it was said. But all in all, outstanding day of cricket.
Yeah, I think it was an excellent ODI to witness. We've got another guest waiting for us. I'm going to bring him onto the stream right now. Chepo, welcome to the show, bro. Haven't seen you in a long time. You've been quite busy. Do you want to give some insight, your summary of the game? What were your thoughts of the game as a whole? Oh, please don't freeze. Okay, I think there's a bit of a lag on your side, bro. If you can just try to get back on again. I don't know why, but okay, let's talk about that running between the wickets. I mean, like I said, I think I tweeted it as well. I don't know why I'm trying to tweet now. I need to stop. I don't think I'm gonna do it anymore. I just felt Aditya gave me the the little the fire in my belly.
Your tweets are fine though. They were okay. They weren't too bad.
Yeah. So basically, what I said is, yes, the aggression between the wickets. Me and Aditya have been speaking about this a lot off air and on air as well. Aggressive cricket is not only about playing aggressive shots. It's also about just keeping the ball ticking over, etc. Like I said, I always use that example of when England played South Africa, and there was that David Malan, extraordinary innings from David Malan. But the way they played that game was all about that great quick running between the wickets, finding the gaps with singles, and then putting the scoreboard pressure at the end of the day, putting the pressure on the opposition to make mistakes. Then you can play a couple of shots to take the game away from you. So it was nice to see that we worked our way into it, but I think that our openers can do it a lot better. I think that Aiden, Quinton, and them, whoever's going to open with Quinton, I think Aiden hasn't solidified his spot, I think maybe as an opener quite yet. There's a lot of people calling for Yana Manamalan. Yana Manamalan also has his weaknesses as well. We'll see now the way they bat together in the final ODI. They most likely will, and then we can see what they're capable of from regards to that. Let me just try to get Chepo on quickly again. If you want to say something before the side quickly.
No, I'm just saying I'm on a different side of this. I actually think we should try open with Quinton and Temba. Their running between the wickets is much better than anybody else, than Aiden and Quinny. And I also think possibly even better than Yanaman and Quinny. That there's a relationship between the two. There's something unspoken between the two that just works. Temba's got that mid-on shot that he can play, and he's also got that little drop the ball, and Quinny's got they're able to do that. And I think that's one of the things that we maybe need to consider going forward, and then maybe look for a number 3 rather than necessarily looking for an opener. So that's something that I want to throw in the works, is that maybe Timber moves up to open and try find someone at 3, 4, 5, or 6 to fit into the side rather than necessarily look at the top, because I love the way Timber and Queenie batted against England and Australia last year, but obviously against Australia, Timber batted at 3. So there's something between the two of them that looked so symbiotic, and it was just so seamless today that kind of worked, and it was what we were looking for all the time.
We saw it in the T20s as well when they played together. A lot of people want them to be the opening pair for the T20s. So it's something that there is some synergy between the two of them. Let's try to get Seppo on again. Seppo, well, how's it? Welcome to the show again. Just want to get your summary of the game. What is your thoughts on the game as a whole?
How's it, everyone? Good to be here. Good to see you guys. So first off, hats off to Fakhar Zaman. Absolutely incredible innings. There was a time when the game could have been taken away from us, when he was smashing Shamsi like he was some sort of primary school bowler, just being dispatched all over the park. So fantastic innings there, but a great team effort with the bat. And we've been saying it time and time again, the batting hasn't been backing up the bowling, and for the first time it's actually come off, and the plan has come off, so it looked pretty good. A very proud performance with the batting, but the bowling left a lot to be desired. Andile Petlokwayo playing with lines, silly balls, but batting was good, bowling not so good, but great batting.
I think it is. I see Ashid Singh shouting at us in the comments over here, but Miller, we do get it. We got your point quite clearly in the live chat earlier on before the show started. There are no Miller haters on this channel. There are only people over here that want to see the best out of every single player, and that's all that we want. We want to see the best of everybody, and that's what we're trying to do. And we try to spark it. I never criticized Miller that night. I know what night you guys are talking about. I never criticized him that night, but I said what I would love to see from him, and I think he's starting to do it. I think this is the best. Like I said, this is the best run of form that he's had his whole career in ODI cricket. So it's good to see that he can do this. Aaron, I want to ask you, for us to be able to get the perfect balance from our side, right? I just want to know from your point of view, do you agree with him, Paul, when he says about maybe Temba opening the batting and then finding a 3 or 4 or 5, 6 and finding that extra spot down maybe in the middle order? What is your thoughts on that?
Well, it is a tough one. And to be honest, I understand Mpo's point. When you look at those two today, the running between the wickets is almost telekinetic. They know exactly what each other's capable of, know when to run 2s, 3s, etc. So I can understand the point. But Mpo, I actually just wanted to ask you, who would you play at that 3, 4, 5? Would Markram still be in and around the starting 11 for you?
Unfortunately, wouldn't. I would look for somebody lower down. I'd have Rassie bat at 3. Possibly either. The question would be, do I want David Miller to bat at 4? And right now it's a yes. And then try to figure out how, and obviously Heino Klaassen has cemented a spot at 5, and look at 6 and try to figure out if we can't get somebody in there who can bowl 10 overs. We need someone who can bowl 10 overs, who can share the load with Petlugwayo or any of the bowlers should they go for a big thing. And I think that's our biggest issue right now. But the problem is that you need someone who can bat it, who can earn his spot as a batsman at 6 or in the top 6. And I know you're going to go to John Smuts, but he's an option. But Vian Mulder can bat at 6. I see Harshit is capsing us there. But I think it gives us a little bit more of a deeper dimension rather than necessarily trying to fit in Aiden at the top with Yanaman and have 6 batsmen who don't give us anything. Yes, Aiden bowled well today, but he's not an option going to the 2023 World Cup, unless if you want to make him an option. But I'd rather him focus on converting his 30s into 100s and doing it from that. The reason why I would drop Aiden Markram is because I wouldn't have had him at the World Cup in 2019 in the first place. I saw this average of 30s over and around his 16 innings, and I felt that he wasn't good enough to go to the World Cup. I'd have taken Reza, and everybody knows the reason why. But for me, I'd rather have Timber open and then try to find somebody in that middle order. If it's Vian Mulder, then let Vian Mulder bat at 6. Let him learn how to bat at 6. But there's a situation where we need to consider maybe even from a bowling perspective, that Andile Phehlukwayo needs to be considered as a pure bowler, and probably look for somebody like a Vian Mulder to bat at 7, and then go with your 3 quicks. And Andile needs to fight for his place as a quick rather than as an all-rounder, because that's where the issue comes in. Because I'd even rather have Keshav Maharaj bowling 10 overs for us with Shamsi, just so that we could have that extra batsman there. But I think that's where the world is going. The world is going to a place where you have 10 batsmen. We saw that with India. We're seeing that with England. We need to find a way to at least get somebody in there in the case that we have a centurion like on Friday.
No, that is a fair comment. And again, it relates to what Aditya was mentioning earlier, wasn't it? With regards to 5 bowlers as opposed to 6, it gives you that better squad balance. So potentially that is something that the Proteas could actually utilise. But again, which ODI series would you use? Because you can't use it in this one now, given that they're going to the IPL.
Well, you've got 22
Indies?
more ODIs. You've got 22 more ODIs to test it around. I say in Ireland, try Vian Mulder at 6 and see if it works. If not, try him at 7 and try and deal at 8, and then you might have to be forced to pick 2 of your 3 quicks, which is a conundrum you don't want to have. But there's something about having, because if you look at the Pakistan side, Fahim Ashraf came in at 8, you know, and that's something you want, you know, because this wouldn't be possible if Fahim Ashraf didn't come in at 8. We wouldn't be talking Fakhar Zaman, because it would have been Shaheen, it would have been Ashraf, and probably would have been Hassan Ali. Hassan Ali can bat actually, so I don't know about that, but it's either you get a batting consultant to work with the lower order, or you try and work around, and it adds limitations to your game. And I don't want to take guys out. Like, I don't want you to choose between Lungi, Anrich, and Kagiso, but it might be that way in a World Cup setting when you're not closing out games because you're not scoring enough runs.
Another option as well, which I was quite shocked that he wasn't in the squad, is George Linder, because we're playing in India. Now, I understand now you can't play 2 spinners in this particular games, maybe, but George Linder hits the ball a long way as well, can bat really well as well, and he can offer 10 overs with the ball as well. So I think in India, I think that might be something that they'll be looking at. It's surprising that John Smudge got the nod over someone like George Linder, who I feel has a better future for South Africa than John, in all honesty. Aditya, from your perspective, there's a lot of guys calling Andile hopeless in the comment section. Or not a lot of people. There's one particular person saying that. I just want you to give your insights on Andile and what your thoughts are on his ability in South Africa's setup.
It's tricky. Look, I think there's Andile the batsman and there's Andile the bowler. Andile the batsman at number 7 poses problems because he's played 60 ODIs for South Africa. He's averaging 29 odd, and his strike rate is 87. So that doesn't work in ODI cricket now, where you have a number 7. Like the other day in the first game, he made 29 of 35 balls. You simply cannot have a number 7 batsman striking at 85. That could lose you the game. If you look at the first game between India and England, Krunal Pandya came in at number 7 and he made 58 of 30 balls. So now the strike rate going around for that position is at least 160, 170. So I think that's something that I guess the management needs to work out to sort of give more role clarity there. Because what's happening now is that South Africa are effectively going into an ODI with 6 batsmen. And if that doesn't work out, that's pretty dangerous, because you can't really rely on Andile as a batsman. And Andile the bowler, I thought he was fairly impressive in the first game today. I think again there was room for improvement there, but it's tricky. Look, I don't want to. I think he's a good player. He's a solid player, and let's not forget that he hasn't played a lot of cricket coming in. He was injured, and he hasn't had a lot of game time, so he is likely to be rusty. But in saying that, I think South Africa needs to have a player who's a lot more aggressive as a batsman at number 7, for sure.
Anybody else want to weigh in a little bit more on that John Smuts, George Linder, Keshav Maharaj debate on who should be the extra spinner that goes with to the World Cup? Maybe I don't think we've seen enough of them all to be able to really say in ODI cricket to say, look here, this guy deserves the spot over someone else. But from what you've seen from those players, what are your thoughts on that? Let's start with Chepo.
So for me, I think Keshav Maharaj definitely deserves a run out. A chance in the side because he's proven his quality in the domestic setup, and not just his quality as a bowler and a batsman, as an all rounder, but like as a leader in the side as well. And in big match situations, you need someone with a lot of character to be able to deal with the high pressure situations. He might not have all the tricks in his bag, but I mean, I just want someone that's level-headed, that makes the right decisions, and I mean, a captain of a side that literally won or at least got to the final of the One Day Cup consistently. I mean, the Dolphins are a very good team and they're consistently in the finals, so we can't take that away from them. And if we don't give people opportunities after doing well in the domestic setup, then what's the point of having the domestic setup there? You know, we want to give these people opportunities so that you can sort of create that initiative, create that drive within the domestic setup to show them, look, you've done well, people have done well here, and now they're getting their call-ups. That could be you as well. And then it promotes growth within the side. So I think Keshav, for more than just what like he brings with his ability, but like what he brings to the side, could be very, very good. So yeah, I'd put him in the side as the all-rounder, another all-rounder.
Shit, nobody is dropping John Smuts. Just calm yourself down, please, man. Stop shouting at us in the conversation.
Look,
I'm
I
dropping
think,
John Smuts.
Look, I think he has no, but look, but here's the thing. Yanaman Malan scored 100 in that game. In that last game that Harshad stopped.
Yeah.
He's not playing. John's not playing. It's not
Kyle scored a 50.
It's not going to be. Yes, and that's the thing. It's just the way things are right now. We've gone 13 months without any ODI cricket. Things have changed, and this is Mark Boucher looking towards the future. He's looking towards how things are going, and it's unfair on some people. And I hope those people who didn't get a game time now, once the IPL 5 leave, they will get some game time. It's really hard, like being able to pick a squad, and also like how do you drop Aiden Markram after you scored 900 runs in first class cricket? Like, how do you not try find a way? Because if Yanaman Malan is playing and he's scoring the same number of runs as Aiden has already, we'd be hearing here in the comment section people asking for Aiden. You know, if Hanu Klaasen didn't get a run out and he's not getting the runs it needs, we'd get the same thing. But Klaasen averages over 40. That middle order, it's an 80 average, it's an average over 40, and there's another average over 40 as well in David Miller. Like, how do you drop guys like that? Like, I don't understand. You know, and so it's really hard right now, but it's about the balance. And the one thing we need to consider is there a possibility that where we drop to Bray Shamsi to be able to add in someone like a George Linder and a Keshav Maharaj? Do they take away what Tabrez gives you in South African conditions too much? Or the question is it? I know it's not like for like, but from the impact, is it similar? Because if it is similar, then maybe you need to consider maybe dropping Shamsi and looking at a Keshav in South African conditions or George Linder just to bat at 7 and have Andile bat at 8, because that fixes everything actually.
Yeah. Look, yeah. When we pick our team for example, I don't think all of these teamers are going to play in the first 11 in the 2023 World Cup. I don't think all of them will play. That's my understanding of the way this is going. We're going to need to deepen our batting lineup. We're going to need to pick up players that are best against spin. We're going to have to pick up players that are going to be that can give us overs as well with the ball. We're going to probably pick 2 to 3 spinners, dependable on what the match situation is and who we're playing against as well. I think there's a lot of things to talk about, but my thing is, how much are you going to get out of this particular game? This last ODI I'm talking about, we know everybody's going over to the IPL now, all the top players in this particular team, but a lot of them. What are we going to get out of this last ODIs? What I want to leave you guys with. I don't want to answer this question right now because I want to do a whole show on this, probably either tomorrow or on Tuesday, where we talk before the first. Let's review it on maybe on Tuesday before the next ODI on Wednesday, and talk about what. Just have a think about it to all the guys and the fans and in the comment section as well as the guys on the screen. What do we want out of this last ODI? We're going to obviously give a lot of guys opportunities. What are we looking for? Because I mean, from what it seems like to me is that Boucher wants Pavum at 3, and he's made it clear that in his press conferences that's what he wants. He's looking for an opener to help Quinton de Kock, obviously dominating those power plays and take the game deep, because he was speaking about players taking the game to 40 overs and lasting, staying at the crease for 40 overs, as deep as that. I think that I don't think that Andy Klassen's spot is necessarily as cemented as some people may think. And then we're looking for that number 6, whether it be an all-rounder, batting or bowling. Obviously, an all-rounder, batting or a batsman over there at number 6. And then having 2 all-rounders at 7 and 8. Those are the discussions that we're going to have. Who are the best bowlers out of our seam bowlers? We have to look at as well. Who are the ones that really stand out? Is the Andrik Nokia KG? Is that the partnership we're looking for in Lungi? Out of those 3, one of them may have to fall out if you're going to take 2 spinners or 3 spinners to the World Cup. All of those type of things are that we need to talk about, and particularly we're going to talk about that in the next game. I'm just going to give you guys a last opportunity to this round up. Aditya, I'm going to give you the first go. Your final thoughts before we obviously have that review on Tuesday. What's your final thoughts that you just want to leave the fans with?
To put it simply, from a balance perspective, I think everyone in the South African team from 6 onwards, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, need to be able to bowl. And everyone from 1 to 9 needs to be able to bat. To me, it's as simple as that. In words, I know that ultimately it depends on the players that Boucher has at his disposal. But ultimately, if South Africa are to be successful in all conditions across the world, they're going to have to figure out a balance that looks something like this. In saying that, there are plenty of positives to be taken from both of these games, and it'll be interesting to see the players that do get opportunities for this final. But most of all, I'm excited to see that there's a bunch of guys who will be tested under high pressure circumstances, and that's important for South African cricket, because the more opportunities that players get to test themselves under pressure, the better equipped they will be to deal with pressure in high tournaments, whether it's the T20 World Cup or whether it's the 50 over World Cup. So irrespective of the result, I hope that they focus on a process and they reflect well on it either way, and I'm sure that everyone's going to come out better for it.
Let's go with Aaron.
Well, yeah, just following on from what Aditya said, I think he's summed that up very, very nicely. Irrespective of the result on Wednesday, use this as a learning process. It's not like the T20 World Cup, which is right around the corner. You've still got until 2023. So regardless of the result, and just another thing I wanted to say, whoever does come in, let's not expect the entire world from them, okay? Let's not expect 50s and 5s, this, that, the other, okay? They haven't played a lot of cricket. But with that being said, I do want them to perform well. It's as simple as that. And I want Pakistan to perform as well. I want this as a neutral to be as close as possible. Maybe not like a super over or anything like that, but just a good end to a series, good 2 competitive sides. Let's have a nice end to this series and set up the T20s nicely. And then just one more thing, not related to South Africa, but in the comments, talking about Ollie Pebble. No. Ollie Stonehenge. Okay, that's what he is from now on. Ollie Stonehenge. Should be back for the season opener, 8th of April, County Championship against Derbyshire.
Aaron,
I'm telling you now, he's class.
Aaron,
I love that it does score.
Don't you? Actually, watching Anuf, don't you miss him? Don't you miss the fact that he could have played in all these ODIs from, I don't know, December all the way now down to now, but he hasn't even gotten a game?
Who's that?
Pebble. Ollie Pebble.
Stonehenge. The monument, the obelisk, okay? As many as many Stone-related synonyms as you like. Yeah, he should have played. Of course he should. Ollie Stone's world-class, simple as that. And that is my final thoughts for this evening. Ollie Stone, remember the name, 2023 World Cup. Who knows? Could be a match winner for the Three Lions and a crown.
Of course. Let's go with Chepo.
Shot for me. I just want to see how things will look a lot later. I want to see a clearer plan from Mark Boucher. I'm sure there is a plan. What I'd really like to see is something long term, like what happened with David Miller, someone with tons of talent, tons of potential that eventually starts to stand up and play very mature innings. I'd like to see that from the likes of Quinton de Kock, Themba Bavuma. We saw that fantastically today. I want to see the youth grow, and these are the types of opportunities that they need to get there. So exciting times for this next ODI, and also just how the IPL has revolutionized international cricket is also going to be very interesting, because if you think of the English Premier League or just soccer in general, how international football sort of takes the back seat to that, and how the quality of football in those clubs is very high, and then they come through and come to the international sides and really give those sides some real strength. So when the guys go to IPL, I hope they do well, and then they come back, and then the young guys can learn from that and learn from the experience, and we all learn together. We all have fun. That's what I want to see.
Cool, Paul.
Look, I think I'm happy we finally got a win. I think that's a big thing. I think it was a massive hurdle for Themba and co to get over. I think we all saw what the current best 11 looks like with all the IPL guys inside. Now the guys are gone. Now it's an opportunity for guys to put their hands up. I'm excited. Whether they do well or not doesn't matter to me. I just need guys to get caps. I need guys to get exposure. They probably will go to Ireland, so they'll get more games there. So we mustn't be too hung up on who's playing on wins and who's not, because Ireland presents a very intriguing prospect for this team. And so it's something that we need to grow and work on. We have what these two games have shown me is the amount of talent this team has. The amount of talent South Africa has, and it's about finding ways to get the best out of it. And from a bowling perspective, always know that we will go into any tournament knowing that our bowlers will help us in any moment. And I think that's the thing that I've taken out over these past 2 days, is that the bowlers can bring it back. They can draw games back. And yes, obviously, Fakhar Zaman just did something incredible. Take that as one of those moments in your lives where you'll see someone try to get close to 200. He was so close to being the second man to score 2 or more double centuries in ODI cricket. It was just unbelievable to watch. And so and I'm excited because obviously Pakistan's at full strength, so it's another way for us to also assess the next crop of players, whether they are of an international standard, whether we're going to get guys who've already had ODI caps or guys who are going to get debuts. That's also something else that we need to look at. But I do hope that Boucher and co and everyone else in the dressing room are flexible enough and versatile enough to make changes, to figure out ways in order to make this team better and this team to sing better. We scored 300 runs, guys. I don't think people thought we could score 300 runs this series. We managed to do it. So I'm happy. I'm really happy. That's something I'm excited about.
Yeah. So Fakhar Zaman, highest score by a guy batting second. Second highest score by a guy in a losing cause. So that is excellent records that he broke.
No, it is the highest score. Oh no! Who scored? Oh, someone scored 200 in a losing cause.
Yeah,
because I thought that was
it's the second highest in a losing cause. That's the second highest in a losing cause.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, let me just wrap this up quickly. What I wanted to say is, what I'm happy about in this particular first 2 games is that the guys that had question marks over their head, I wouldn't really say question marks over their head, but the guys that we asked to stepped up. So Themba Bavuma stepped up in the second game. We got to see that now. He's got another game to show it again. Rassie van der Dussen, both games, stepped up excellently in both. He played excellently in both games. David Miller stepped up and he's left now. He's gone now. He's scored 50s in both games. We've had the likes of Anrich Nokia. He stepped up. One of the 3, the one out of the three bowlers that we could say, or one of the two bowlers that are going to, one out of the three bowlers that are going to the IPL that really showed what he can do. And people had some question marks over Amrich, and he stepped up in this particular two games. You had the likes of, I think that's, and Quinton de Kock as well has come over that hurdle that he was facing. I mean, I think it was this type of innings was the perfect innings for him. I think that the struggle was it was better for him to struggle and get that 80 than get it free flowingly. I think this was better for his mental strength, etc. To get through hurdles on the pitch. It will help him obviously mentally and going forward with his confidence. And I think that was an excellent performance from him as well. So now the guys that are under threat, like Heinrich Klaassen, you could say maybe. You can maybe say Tabrei Shamsi a little bit because obviously we're looking for a spinner that can bat a little bit as well. Maybe, because I'm a big fan of Tabrei. But now it's kind of a fight out. Aiden Markram, a fight out with Jana Manez, who probably will be his partner in this next game. It's kind of a fight out between the two of them. But also it will show their temperament on how they can approach this. Do they look at each other as enemies or do they look at each other as teammates? So that's something that's interesting to see of how they're going to play together. And how they're going to fight through this. I mean, two very attacking batsmen. And that's by far. And two of the best players I feel in South African cricket against pace bowling. So that's something that is excellent that we're going to be able to see over there, of course. Calverena now an opportunity maybe to step up. I hope he plays, gets an opportunity to show that maybe he should get that number 6 spot in that side. I always say that his mentality is the reason why I'll pick him every day of the week. He'll be one of the first players on my team sheets because of his mentality alone. To have that type of mentality is not something that you can coach. And I think that's something that South Africa needs because under pressure situations, they normally buckle. And if Carl doesn't feel pressure like that under pressure situations, that is the key thing that South Africa needs in their team. But anyway, thanks a lot for everybody for tuning in. Thanks a lot for the guys on the show for all coming on. We're going to obviously talk again. I would like to do a review, a preview of the last game because it's almost like I didn't do a preview after the second game because I thought it was going to be exactly the same team and hence it was exactly the same team. So we didn't have to really talk about much, but I think for the next game, we should do a preview show. So if you guys are all available, please join that. It would be excellent to talk about that. I think we're going to have a lot of talk about the T20s. That's going to be a lot of debate on the screen, I think. I think me and Paul might clash a bit. Maybe we won't. We'll see what happens. But we're going to have some healthy debates. I'm hoping that Chip was available for those ones as well. But to everybody in the live chat, thanks for coming on the show and supporting us like you have. Please smash that like button, comment, share, subscribe. Share it because we're almost on 2,000 subscribers on this channel, which is a milestone that we really want to be able to hit. So go ahead and please, it's like a 200 away. So please, guys, go ahead and go and send it to all your friends and family, and especially the South African fans that you know. And support us. cricketfanaticsmag.com. You need to go there for all your updates too. Thanks a lot for everybody for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow with the show. I'm not sure yet what I'm going to speak about quite yet. I'll find something to speak about. I'll probably be chatting to the guys on screen over here to talk to them and ask them what we're going to speak about tomorrow. But we'll find something to speak about. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you guys very soon. Take care, everyone, and have a great evening.